Hello, Nova Nation. It's WXVU Sports Director David Szczepanski back for a Villanova men's basketball recap as the Wildcats are back in action against the UConn Huskies at the XL Center in Hartford, Connecticut yesterday. Back in the WXVU studio getting ready for tonight's women's basketball game as the Wildcats will take on Georgetown at the Finn. We'll have coverage coming up in just a little bit on WXVU Student Radio. But as for the men's basketball team, I do apologize for the lack of recap videos in terms of, getting them out quickly after games. With some of these road games, if I'm already home, haven't yet gotten back to campus. So I do apologize for not really uploading the videos as quick as I would like to over these past couple road games for Villanova. Villanova, though, did lose to UConn yesterday. It's now a two-game losing streak. Final score, UConn 66, Villanova 59. I'm sure that many Villanova fans already know what happened in this game, right? The Wildcats had a lead at halftime. They had a 14-point lead at one point in the second half with about 11 or 12 minutes left to go, and UConn went on a 23-5 run in the midway of that second half to storm back, take the lead. Villanova scored just 6 points in the final 11 minutes and 58 seconds of that contest. So, they had such a good game plan in that first half, offensively and defensively, to stop Liam McNeely, who had a really good, excellent second half for this UConn team against Villanova. He scored 20 points, and most of his damage came in that second half, especially from the free throw line. Coach Hurley made the adjustments in the locker room at halftime to beat Villanova, and the Wildcats really didn't have any answers, especially how to respond to UConn's press that they put on Villanova. As Coach Neptune talked about, I put that quote on my Twitter last night. They were using a press that Villanova didn't see a whole lot, at least, they didn't see on film, and unfortunately for the Wildcats, they just didn't have a response to that. So Liam McNeely, as I said, had 20 points for UConn, and UConn shot the ball really well in the second half. They struggled, though, from behind the arc to start the game. They shot just 1 for 9 in the first half, did the Huskies, from behind the arc. So they really picked up that second half, but a lot of it was just Villanova's, their defensive game plan. I thought it was still pretty solid in that second half, but, UConn just made the adjustments to make some better shots, create some wide open three-point opportunities that they were able to knock down that they weren't knocking down in the first half. And then for Villanova offensively, the offense, which, is ranked in the top 15, top 20 in the country in offensive efficiency, according to Ken Pom, all season long, they really were not efficient, especially in that second half yesterday. As for scores, Wooga Poplar continues to look good. He scored 19 points yesterday against UConn, like I said, with a majority of his points coming in that second half. Poplar had 14 of Villanova's 25 points that they scored in the second half. Again, the Wildcats scored just 6 points in the final 12 minutes of that contest in Hartford, Connecticut. But Poplar has played well in his last 6 games. He's averaging almost 20 points per game. Eric Dixon had 17 points. And it was a historical night for Eric Dixon. Dixon passed Bob Schaefer to take over sole possession of 4th place in Villanova program scoring history. Unfortunately, it couldn't have come on a better note for Villanova. He scored 17 points for the Wildcats with the loss. And then Jordan Longino, he was really good in the first half, knocked down some shots, and then really didn't take a whole lot of shot opportunities in that second half. I thought that was something that Villanova could have used to incorporate more in the game plan, is get Longino to take some more shots there, especially when they were struggling down the stretch. He finished with 13 points. Villanova as a whole, they lost the rebounding battle, but they were pretty competitive. especially early on in this game for much of the second half. They were just trying to hold on, and unfortunately, we've talked about it throughout the past few years. I've talked about it in these videos a lot. Villanova's had, tough times, closing out games, getting across the finish line. They were able to hold on in that first game against UConn at the Finn in early January. They couldn't hold on here in this game, and I think it's also a pattern of Villanova's road struggles, right? This is a team that has just 2 road wins for Villanova, and they'll have a couple more opportunities to, get more than 2 road wins, but right now they just have the win against Butler and the win against DePaul on the road. 2 really not impressive wins, especially considering the Butler game, you had to go on a crazy run to end that game. You were down for most of it, and then the DePaul game was just kind of a sleeping, it was kind of a sleeper game. It was a late night game in Chicago. Villanova didn't play well really offensively in that game at all. So, both of those wins, they weren't really quality wins, and the last time Villanova finished with less than 3 road wins in a season, you would have to go all the way back to 2011, 2012. So that was a long time ago for Villanova, and they really just haven't played well on the road this season. The Wildcats luckily will come back home for a matchup on Friday against ranked Marquette at the Wells Fargo Center. 7 p.m. tip-off from South Philadelphia. Our WXU pregame coverage will begin at 6:30 p.m. Ryan Scanlon, Stephen Kane, and I will have the call. Hope you can join us then. If you're watching this on Wednesday night as well, hope you can join us for our coverage of Villanova women's basketball as the Wildcats will take on the Georgetown Hoyas. That game will begin at 7 p.m. So if you're watching this, I'm filming this, I believe the time is, I was checking when I was walking, about 4:30 4:30 in the afternoon. So if you have some time tonight to join us, please do so. You can tune in, of course, on student radio, Radio FX app. If you're near Villanova's campus, you can listen on the 89.1 FM dial. And of course, we're worldwide on our WXVU website. Have a great rest of your day, Nova Nation. Thanks for tuning into this Villanova men's basketball versus UConn video. Tough loss for Villanova. We've said it a lot this season. Hopefully they can rebound against Marquette. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Cats!